Hi. Hello, everyone. So I started this once already and then realized I wasn't set to public. I was set to unlisted, so nobody could join me. I'm just getting here, changing that to live chat. All right, so it has been hot here in southern Missouri. Today is bearable. A couple days ago, Sunday maybe, Saturday, no, Sunday, I don't know, one of these days. It was like 101 degrees with a heat index of 121. It was just absolutely miserable, but we are a little bit better now. Hey, Kathleen. Hello, Pomona Ponderosa. How are you doing tonight? Welcome. And how's your weather? And what's going on with you guys? I am empty nesting it. So that's kind of interesting and new. Hot, yes, we're hot. It's hot here for sure. And I forgot what else I was gonna say. Yeah, so it was, oh, you're braving it outside? Gracious, you are a brave soul out there. I sat in my car for like 2 seconds and then I was like, I need the air conditioner on. Hello, Ida, thank you for joining us tonight. So glad you could be here. Right now, we're just kind of hanging out, seeing who's here. We can talk about what's going on. Have you guys been watching the Vlogust videos? I've been posting videos every day. Every day. I didn't think I was gonna get it last night because I just did not have it in me to leave the house and go back to town after everything that had happened. And I got that video edited about the car, and so I just put the video on an iPad and set it over by our cell phone booster and just crossed my fingers and hoped it would upload, and it did. It did, but it took hours to do it. Hello, Tom in Southern Indiana. Glad you're joining us today. Hey, Miss B's here. Hello. Yeah, you guys are just getting into the hot weather. So here in Missouri, we're getting ready to start cooling down. In September, we'll actually have our first frost in the middle of October. But I remember when I lived in Southern California, September and October were two of the hottest months of the year. I imagine you're probably the same there in Nevada. Yeah, it will be nice when it cools off a little bit. Hey, it's a good life's in the house. Hey, girl, hey. Hello, Natalie. If you guys don't know Natalie, after this is over, don't leave right now. You can hop over to her channel. She's an absolutely lovely woman who's got a channel in Southern California, and she's doing backyard homesteading, backyard gardening. And she's adorable. And Anne's in the house. Oh, lots of good people in the house tonight. Yeah, it is hot here. It is hot. It's really hot. So Mama Grows, you're getting ready to go. You're gonna go then. I know you were talking about it, Kathleen. You're talking about going to Santa Rosa for the Baker Creek thing. Farm Alarm is gonna be there. I think Roots and Refuge. I don't know who else. Oh, there's a whole bunch of people, but not me. I'm sad. But when I have Baker Creek in my back door, I just can't like rationalize buying a plane ticket to go to their conference in California. Maybe someday I'll be at that point, but not right now. Not right now. So how are you guys enjoying your August? Let's see. And what questions do you guys have for me? You know, Wednesday night, this is it. This is when you guys get the best of me. I know I say that every week, but I really like you guys best. You're my favorites because you come here and we just kind of hang out and chill. And I'm drinking sweet tea tonight because it is hot outside. Hot. But I think that pretty soon I'll be switching over to coffee or tea. And we just sit down and we chat and we get to know each other. And so you can ask me about anything. Sometimes I do relationship advice, even though I'm not a counselor, but if we were friends, I would tell you my opinion. So what's going on? What do you guys want to talk about? We can talk about the garden, the farm, my home, my family, me personally. This is it. And, but while you guys are thinking about what you want to talk about tonight, let me see, I can probably find a couple things to talk about. We can talk about Rocket Cat. Rocket Cat had a misadventure. So we have a question from Pomona Ponderosa. Please tell me your first name again. I know I've asked you 1,000 times and I'm embarrassed to have to ask it again, but I have forgotten. I apologize. Hey, Luke's coming in early tonight. You getting your lunch break a little bit early? Diana, thank you, Diana. I'm so sorry. I will learn it. I'll get there, I promise. It just takes me a little while. Empty nesting is interesting. I think I'm handling it much better than I would have 20 years ago. Not because I'm just 20 years older, but because of technology. My girls have been super sweet and they pretty much text me or Marco Polo me daily. And they're not like, if I text them or something, like, oh, Mom, at least, you know, when they reply, they don't sound like that. So it's not too bad. So that part is good. It's different not having them around. It's a little different not having them around, but so Leslie's 19 and she graduated 2 years ago and she, went to Africa for 3 months during her gap year. So we had some practice with her being gone. And then she came back and worked. And then in June, she left to do her internship in Kansas City. And then Carter was a senior last year and Carter worked. Like, she's got a crazy work ethic. So she would do like school and sports and hold down a job her whole senior year. And all summer she worked at a camp in Oklahoma. But even when they were here, they weren't home much. And when they were home, they wanted to go out with friends and do this and that. So we didn't see them a whole lot. And I felt like I almost see them more now. You know what I mean? Like they're talking to me every day and Carter's like, I miss you guys. And she doesn't have a car this year. And so she's talking about, is she going to buy a car? Or is she going to use the cash to pay? She got scholarships for almost everything. I think all that's left is like $800 worth of meal plans. And so she's like, should I buy a car? Should I just use that money? Am I going to get a job? You know, so all this stuff. She's like, I'm thinking I don't really need a car for college, but then I don't know if I can come home every weekend. And like, I'm thinking in my head, when I left for college, I did not want to go home on the weekends. I couldn't anyway. I got on an airplane and I flew like 6 states and a country away. Because I went from Alaska over Canada all the way down to Louisiana. So there was no anything about me even going home until Christmas. Like there was it wasn't even a question. I just either stayed at the school or whatever. So the fact that she wants to come home every weekend is sweet. So I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret because we are a family of 4, but we were a family of 4 in the house. So you would think logically, mathematically, that if 2 people move out of the house, your grocery budget gets cut in half, your dishes and laundry get cut in half, your cleaning gets cut in half, right? your expenditures and stuff. It's cut down by like 2/3 or 3/4. It's amazing. Like every time I want to go wash some clothes, the washing machine is empty. There's never anybody else's clothes in there unless it's Chris's, but he only does like a load a week. So anytime I want to throw in towels or sheets or whatever, the washer's available. It's unbelievable. I went to the grocery store one week. I spent only $50 at the grocery store for, a week's worth of household goods and groceries. I was like, what? How is this possible? It's so much less. And if I clean the table, which it's not right now, but if I clean the table, it stays clean because Chris is a person of habit. So he walks in, he sets his computer bag in the same chair every single day. He takes his shoes off by his bed every single day. So if there's a mess around, typically it's mine. His desk area stays messy, but he typically doesn't mess up the rest of the house. So if I clean the table off and it's nice, it stays that way until I mess it up again. There's not 4 people running in and just dropping stuff here and there on their way through the house. So that part of it is kind of nice. But it'll be good to see them. And we got to see Leslie when we went to Oklahoma. She was able to come down from her program for a couple days and spend with us. And I see a few people have joined in, so I'm going to stop talking for just a second and read the comments. And if you would, if you're talking to me, put it in all caps. because a lot of times there's chatter between you guys, and that way I know it's not for me. So let's see, what have we got? Luke says in SoCal it's 106 today. That's just unbearable. Unbearable. Thank you, Ida. It's so sweet of you to say that. And Diana says the weirdest thing for her was not to have to go back to school shopping. Cheryl's here. Hello, Cheryl. Thank you for joining. Let's see. All right, I think I'm pretty much caught up. So what other questions do you guys have? What else is going on in your worlds? How many of you have kids that you're sending back to school, and have they started yet? Is there anyone in here that still has kids in elementary or grade school? Kathleen was here at the start of the show. I don't know if she's still here, but she has 4. So she's doing all the back to school stuff. I don't know if they've started yet though. It's kind of interesting. Here, it feels like to me, because it's not what I was used to, school starts really early. They're already starting school maybe yesterday? They've already started school, I think. And then, no, Thursday, I think tomorrow. I think they start tomorrow. And then they get out like in the first or second week of May, which is really bizarre to me because in California, we were like almost Memorial Day to Labor Day. So it was very much shifted differently. So Kathleen, yeah, you've got a lot going on trying to get 4 ready. And then, Cheryl, you're gonna send... Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure the teachers don't want the goat kids in their class. Although there's a little song or nursery rhyme about a little lamb that followed Mary to school. Luke, I did not realize you had 7 kids. So all of them are homeschooled. So do you do a traditional type school calendar, like about 180 days from August to May-ish, or do you do differently? Do you do year-round? How does that go? Along the River Homestead, hi, thank you for stopping in. It's nice to see you. So if you would, please, I like to learn everybody's names. So if you don't mind sharing your first name, where you're watching from, and what your weather's been like. We kind of usually start off with that. And Anne's got 1 in high school. Here at Ava. Let's see. Oh, Rebecca, I didn't know your mom was a teacher. And they have like 2 weeks left to go because of the construction on the school, it sounds like. You're in upstate New York and you go September 7th till end of June. Yeah, that's late. My cousin is a teacher in Connecticut and is like that. Luke says you usually stick close to the traditional schedule. Yeah, that's kind of what we did too. When we homeschooled in California, we started the day after Labor Day, and we went to, and probably Luke's the only one who's going to know where this is, but we would go to Seal Beach because by then most of the other schools had started, and it's a small beach where it's not like crowded like Huntington or somewhere else, and free parking usually. So we would usually go to Seal Beach and have that Tuesday after Labor Day was our first day of school with a homeschool group, and we would do that. Let's see. Hi, Christy. Good to know you. Where are you watching from? Yeah, so I had a little bit of the back to school stuff to do with my girls this year, but not like usual. Like it wasn't school supplies. And in fact, I kept asking them, I'm like, do you need any notebooks, pens, pencils? And they're both like, no, I'll just use some stuff left over from before, and I've got plenty of that kind of stuff, and I'll wait till I start school, and then we'll see. Oh, you're down at Bradleyville. Okay, yeah. So they started already. See, that seems so early to me. They just made a state law here that they're not going to let schools start that early, which I think is weird. I don't know why they feel like it needs to be regulated, but whatever. So I think it's going to be like no more than 10 days prior to Labor Day. But I don't know if it's going to be 10 school days or just 10 calendar days because I don't have kids in school and I really don't care. And even if I did, it really wouldn't matter because Like, it's going to be whatever it's going to be. I was kind of the parent who was like, just send me the schedule. So we homeschooled. For those of you who don't know, when we lived in California, my kids started off in Christian school, and they were there for until my oldest one was in 6th grade, and the youngest was in 4th. And then in the middle of the school year, we switched them to a public school, and they finished out the year at public school, and then we homeschooled for, so that would have been her 7th, but she skipped 7th grade, so 8th through her senior year, so 6 years. For my oldest was homeschooled, and she graduated from homeschool. And then when my younger was going into her sophomore year, she asked to be public schooled here in Ava, and she wanted to participate in sports and some other things. And she's very much a people person. It was hard for her being at home, and sister wasn't around much, and you know, so we made the decision that for her that was the right thing to do. So she ended up going back to public school for the last 3 years. She was in sports and all the honors courses she could take, and she actually did really well and enjoyed it and thrived there. So we've done a little bit of everything. Oh, in Bradleyville, they're doing 4 days a week. They did that a little bit in Ava. They've done, like, last year I think it was something like every other Monday or every other, yeah, I think every other Monday they had off most of the year, and they added like a certain number of minutes, because I guess in Missouri now it has been something about the number of minutes you're in the class as opposed to the number of days of school. Whatevs. So hello from 0 to Homestead. Nice. Welcome. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Bye, Kathleen. Have a good back to school night. I hope all of your kids have a wonderful year and love their teachers and their classmates. So what else, guys? What can we talk about? Any questions garden-wise or farm-wise? Diana says, their kids went first through first at military schools in Germany, and they did all the honors courses. They missed military life, so both went in. And that is also weird, kids deployed. I imagine that is something to get used to, having your kids in the military. Some 2 of the boys from our church, I look this way like they're actually sitting next to me because I'm in the church and the sanctuary is right there, but neither of them are here. They have actually joined Marines, 2 different locations though. So that's, some of the families here are going through that as well, and I imagine that is different. It is. Yeah, and I think I saw Jerry joined us. Hello, welcome. Oh, no, I don't want to report anyone. Cancel. Sometimes I'm trying to scroll down and it tells me that I'm like actually clicked on somebody, and it wants me to report them, and I'm like, no, I don't want to report. These are my friends. So Rebecca has a question. Has Rocket Cat been sticking close to the house after that little escapade? So, okay. Yes, so I'll catch those of you up who, if you didn't see the video, we have a kitten, and she's very new to our family. She showed up on 4th of July, so she's named Rocket for Rocket's Red Glare, and we call her Rocket Cat, which I don't know why, but we just do. So she's Rocket Cat. And on Saturday, we were power washing a blue cow chute on our driveway, and she was out there with us, and the dogs were out there. And then when we were done, Carter left and went on to do something with her friend, and Chris had to go to work for a couple hours. And I went inside and did stuff, and then when I went out to do chores, she wasn't there, and I was like, where's Rocket Cat? Because normally, I mean, you guys have heard her in the videos. She is a vocal cat. She's like, rah, 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 nonstop, and she follows us around everywhere like a little puppy. I really joke because my dog Oakley, the white one with the brown patch on her eye, she barely wants anything to do with people. We call her a cat dog because she will be like, yes, I will come sit down beside you, and she'll sit like this far away and be like, you may touch me now. Okay, that's enough. Like that, she doesn't want to. And when I bought her, I wanted a lap dog, and I really researched all different kinds of dogs, breeds, and to get the perfect dog for me, you know. And I really do love her, and she's sweet, but she doesn't want to sit in your lap and be held. She, you know, she wants to play with you and be fed by you, and then she will walk away and do her own thing. She's really very much like a cat, very shy of new people. And then we get this cat. Excuse me. I should take a sip of tea. My throat is getting kind of scratchy. Just a second. The tea doesn't want to float. Oh, maybe if I open the lid, that would work. Drink out the right hole. So, sorry about that. So then this cat shows up at our house, and this cat wants to be on me like white on rice. She wants to be in my lap, being held all the time. She's so snuggly. In the video, if you watched it, she put her little head right here and then reached up with her paw, like gave me a little hug on my face. She's like that all the time. So when I went outside and she wasn't there, I was like, this is really weird. We must have worn her out. And then Chris and Carter came home and she still wasn't home, and we did evening chores and she still wasn't there, and we looked and we called. We drove up and down the road every time from Saturday until Sunday night, Monday night. Every time I went up there, I would call, and I just thought, I wonder if she got up in one of our engines because we were spraying water. So we both thoroughly checked our engines and she wasn't in there. And I thought, well, maybe she got in there, but then she hopped off at some point along the road when she, like if we slowed down or something because she got scared. Couldn't find her. We texted our friend because he had come Saturday to take the blue cow chute back home. He had loaned it to us. And so I was just so sad. And like people were like, are you sad Carter's going to school? And I'm like, kind of, but I'm really sad about Rocket Cat because I know Carter's coming back. And so I was just like, and Carter's like, thanks, Mom. Miss you too. I was just devastated. I was really sad. I wasn't sleeping well. And then Monday night, about 10 o'clock, we get a text. And it's our neighbor, the same one that had borrowed the blue chute, that we had borrowed the cow chute, the squeeze chute from. And his wife texted and was like, hey, a little cute black cat just showed up at our house, and Michael says you guys were looking one. So I sent her a picture and she's like, that's it. And they brought her down, and I was so happy that she's back. And yes, she is sticking close to the house. And she always did, which is what surprised me. Like, she's not at the age yet where she's going off hunting. And usually if cats are gonna do that, they're gonna slip away in the night and hunt, you know. And like my mom's cat will be gone for a couple days and then come back. That's typical of barn cats, but it was just so sad. So I see April is just here for a second. Thank you for saying hi. Yes, get all your animals water. It's hot out there. So that's the story of Rocket Cat, and I'm so glad she's back. And I'm so happy, and I have been just loving on her every minute when I'm home. So what we think happened is we think she climbed up in that blue chute after we were done washing it, when we went inside, before Michael came to pick it up and take it home. And then she probably got scared on the ride and like hopped off in the bushes near their house. And then when she got hungry enough, she found her way to their porch because it's parked near their house. So that's what we think happened. But she'll never tell us. She hasn't told me where she was, but that's the story I make up in my head. And she survived through a couple of good, strong rainstorms. But she came home happy and healthy, so we're very glad she's there. All right, and I saw a lot of comments going by. So let's see what else. Oh, somebody asked about the mug. So this mug is, it actually belongs to Chris, and he got it because it will fit in a car cup holder. And it got out of the dishwasher last week and put away in the pantry. And I realized that he hadn't used it in about a week. So yesterday I took it in my car, and it's wonderful. It's one of those good insulated ones that holds ice really well. And so today I asked him, I'm like, hey, I need one of those. He said he got it on the clearance aisle at Walmart. So if any of y'all are looking for a mug, check this out. Let's see what brand it says on it. Built. I don't know if you can see that, but right there it says Built, B-U-I-L-T on the lid. And I also like that it has this little slider thing. So when I'm carrying it, I don't spill it all over myself. I have been known to do that. Not that I would ever do that. I would never do that. I don't know why I said that all the time. All right, bye, J-Dogs. See you. Let's see. What else is up? Oh, Kate Booth is in the house. Hello, welcome. Thanks for watching. Where are you watching from? How's your weather? Let's see. Oh, somebody asked a question about fall garden. Yes, so let's talk gardens. Anybody putting in fall stuff? I know that Natalie has got her summer garden that she planted in those beautiful raised beds in her backyard is just growing and it's lovely. So try and catch her when she's doing a garden tour. She's gonna have stuff well into the fall. And Kate says New Jersey, hot and humid. Ugh. And Cairo, Georgia. I bet you're nice and hot there too, Laura. Thank you for stopping by tonight. I'm glad you could be here with us. And so my garden is still growing, and it's corn, squash, beans, which I think I have some beans I need to harvest. I planted purple teepee beans and I saw them, but they're kind of scrawny looking, so I really need to look them up and see what they're supposed to look like. Hello, Grammy Karen. Thank you for stopping by. And what? Ida, you're in Sweden? Wow, thank you. What time is it there? What is your time zone? I know in the UK it is 11:15 p.m. So I'm guessing you're somewhere around there. So thanks for staying up late at night to watch me. That's lovely. I appreciate that. I would love to visit Sweden. I've seen almost 1 a.m. Oh my goodness, thank you for taking your nighttime to hang out with us. I appreciate that. So what was I saying? Oh, so my garden. So I don't know what the purple teepee beans are supposed to be like to when they're ready to harvest. So if any of you guys know, do they get nice and fat and plump, or do I need to pick them thin and will they stay tender? I've got some butternut squash, some pumpkin. I planted watermelon. It's flowering. I haven't seen any watermelons on it yet. My corn, I think, is about ready to harvest. And if I can find the time, I would really, really, really like to plant some stuff for fall. Maybe some kale, some lettuce, some peas. Oh, I have a question for you. Maybe you guys can help me out with this. So I have the corn growing now, and the beans are growing up 2 rows of it. But in between that, I planted a row of the Kentucky Wonder Beans, and none of them germinated, right? So if I plant the peas there now, because that would provide plenty of shade for the young peas until it cools off, will the stalks stay strong enough to hold the peas up until it's time to harvest as the corn stalks start to die off and dry out? I don't know when that's going to be, but I know the corn is going to be ready for harvest really soon. Like some of it is probably ready right now. So has anyone out there grown corn before, and what is it going to be like? Would that work for me? Could I just let the peas grow up it? And then, so what I'm thinking is, because we'll start cooling off probably mid-September. So will the corn last another month enough to shade the peas until the weather cools? That would be fantastic. You know what I might do? I might just plant some and see. That would be a good experiment. But if you know, let me know. And I saw someone else was watching that I hadn't talked to yet. Viola. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I'm going to say your name right. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't. Should I even try it? Like, it looks like Juhox or Juhoch. I'm sorry. I'm butchering it. I know it. I apologize. I apologize for that. Okay, so Kathy says that the cornstalk will stand until I pull it out, and it would make a good climbing medium. All right, well, I'm going to do that then. I'm going to plant peas around the corn because I think that with the squash and everything growing in there right now, it should shade it enough that my peas won't get burnt. So I'll do that probably this weekend. And then I'll probably also plant some lettuces and maybe some kale, maybe spinach if I can find some. I need to kind of look and see what I still can plant. But those things I know can grow into the fall. Carrots too. I should put carrots down there because they'll be shaded out by all that other stuff too. And they can grow well into fall and winter. So I'm getting excited, but I'm gonna have to make time to do it. So let's see. So the J is silent. So then it would be you hawk. How do you say the last part? Can you like spell it for me phonetically? Am I saying Viola right? Is that how you pronounce it? I'm pronouncing it Viola. Okay. All right, we're gonna go with that. So carrots, beets, and broccoli are good. Okay, good. Good deal. And I don't know if it's true of everywhere else, but in Missouri, a lot of your pests start to die off. So you have less pest pressure and less heat pressure in the fall than you typically do in a summer garden. So you guys know the Clyde's garden planter? Are you all familiar with that? You can, it's a little slide out paper thing like this. And it you line up in the spring, you line up your last frost of spring, and then it has a calendar across the top, and it tells you what to plant at certain times. And then it also tells you how much of each to plant, what kind of spacing, and in a 10-foot row, how much harvest you can expect. It's a wonderful tool. And you flip it over on the back, and it has a fall one, and you line it up with your first frost, and it tells you all the things for your fall garden. I absolutely love it. And last year at Baker Creek, I got a chance to talk to Clyde, the man who actually made those and sells them. And he said that often, especially here in Missouri, that fall gardens do better than a spring garden. So that is really exciting to me to get some stuff in the ground. Good night along the river, and oh gosh, I know you told me your name. I want to say Claire, but I don't think that's right. Sorry, it was way up there. Tell me again. It'll take me a couple times, but I'll get it eventually. Let's see. So I see that people leave corn stalks up as a snow fence. That's cool. So, and the reason they didn't germinate is because they were old and they had traveled with me and been, oh gosh, what was I gonna say? They'd been like stored not properly. So they were like seeds. I think the packet was labeled 2013 or 14, and I just threw them in on a whim to see whether they would germinate. So I'm pretty sure that's what happened. So that will certainly be going up in a video soon. And then when I start harvesting the corn, I did my second round of mineral oil this week, and I did find 2 little corn earworms. So we'll see how well that works. I haven't been able to do it exactly every 4 days because of weather. So hopefully they'll be good. Well, Ida, if you fall asleep, that's okay. You have a good night's rest and enjoy your day tomorrow. And thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. It's fun getting to know you a little bit more. And it's late. You should be sleeping. I've also been working on some garden design projects with Chris. The bunnies are getting ready to be transferred to a tractor. So they'll be in their grow out location pretty soon. We are probably going to be making designs for the rabbit tractor available. Chris has been working on those. We're still kind of tweaking it because that was the first one that we've made, and we had to, we had put some of it together and we're like, oh, this isn't going to work. I just take it apart and cut some pieces down and stuff, and we think we've got it figured out. It needs handles, it needs a latch, it needs a couple things, but when we make another 1 or 2, then we'll get the plans out once we get it perfected. Luke, yes, I do remember running into Kip at Walmart. Why do you ask? Did you meet somebody when you were out here? Thank you, Laura. We're really happy with it. Yeah, I do need a handle to open it because, you know, it's got the metal edge and stuff. So there's a few little things we can tweak it, but we're really pleased with the way it turned out. You did, Luke. That's excellent. He's such a nice guy. He really is. He's a good guy. Yeah, it's really fun. It's fun running into people. I have been recognized a few times in Walmart, which I find kind of odd. Anne's husband seems to run into me all the time there. But he works there, so he has an advantage over everybody else. But it's kind of odd sometimes. I was looking at, I think, tortillas or something, I don't know. I was looking at the aisle, and this mom and daughter were walking behind me, and I just hear, like, not really at me, but just like, I just hear, "Have I seen you on YouTube?" And I thought, guess they're talking to me. I'm the only other person on this aisle. I don't know. Yeah, you probably have. You probably have. Hi, I'm Lorella. You know, and so, but it's nice. It's nice to meet people. Everybody has been nice and stuff. I mean, my channel's still pretty small, so it's not. I'm not like super famous, like probably Jess or Kevin and Sarah or whatever, but they're all just people, so it's kind of fun. And I feel like I know you guys a little bit too. The only problem I have is I don't know what any of you look like. So if you ever meet me, you have to give me a little, like, tell me, I'm so-and-so, and we talked about blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, now I remember you. Or you guys that are here every week, yes, a hint. That's the word in English, isn't it? Thank you. Ida, if I ever make it to Sweden, we'll make that happen. Or if you get back here to visit sometime. So, yeah, so I need that. I need a little bit of, like, a clue. I need a clue. You gotta help me out. You gotta spark the memory, because you guys see me. Well, now you're seeing me every day. I'm hanging out in your house, but I haven't seen you, most of you, yet. I know what a few of you look like, those of you who have channels, and I might recognize you. I recognized Anne. I recognized April from who was in here just a little while, from Grace Junction Homestead. But she had been to my house. She came over for the YouTube after party after Baker Creek, which was a fun event, and we'll do that again. Yeah, that would be cool if, like, well, you know what you could do, Laura, maybe, is you could put a profile picture up, because right now you're just like an orange circle figure of a person. But yeah, that would be fun. And in fact, the first time I went to Baker Creek and I knew that there were people that I really wanted to meet, I went on YouTube and I took screenshots of them and I wrote their name on there with the app that I have in my phone. And then when I would see someone, I'd be like, I think I kind of recognize that person. I would like scroll through and be like, oh, that's Farm Alarm. Oh, that's so-and-so. Because, you know, it's kind of weird to see, when you see people on YouTube even, they don't always look exactly the same as they do in person. I feel that way about Doug and Stacy. Like, Stacy looks just like she does in person, but I didn't realize how tall Doug is, which I should be used to that because Chris is really tall. But Doug is really tall. Rebecca, I would recognize you. You sweet girl. We have talked enough, and I've seen you on video before, so I know what you look like, and I see pictures of you on Instagram, so I recognize you. Yeah, so if you guys are on Instagram, you can follow me there. It's at Lorella Crews, LORELLACREWS. And yeah, as a matter of fact, it's kind of, I don't know if you'll think it's a funny story. I think it's a kind of a funny story. But I used to have the Not a Farm Girl name on YouTube and on Twitter. I am on YouTube still. On Instagram and Twitter. And then I never posted anything on Instagram or Twitter under those names. And then we got our farm name. So I had my YouTube channel before we had a farm and before we had a farm name, because we had decided that we were going to make this move, and that's when I started doing the channel. And it's about me learning to farm, right? Excuse me. But then we decided to name the farm, and the name of our farm is Plan B Orchard and Farm, and it has a double meaning. The word bee is B-E-E, and one meaning is because we are beekeepers and you need bees to pollinate. You know, that's like bees run the world, basically, according to the Bee Movie anyway. Without them, everything dies, right? So that's like the one meaning is Plan B, orchard and farm, because that like encapsulates. We're gonna have a farm, an orchard, and bees, and blah blah. The second thing is because Chris and I kind of had our midlife crisis together. We were both in our early 40s and not wanting to stay. Like, I love my profession, but California was getting to the point where we couldn't live there anymore, and Chris was ready to do something different, and so this was our plan B. Like, this is never what we thought we would do with our life, so it became our plan B. So it's like it got a double name on the farm. And so when we thought we would probably be having like a market stand or something like that, that people would be buying from Plan B Orchard and Farm, but my YouTube channel would be Not a Farm Girl. So at that point we started a Plan B Orchard and Farm Instagram page, and Carter used to run it and take pictures and post them all the time for that. But then we never got enough of a market garden going. I mean, there's like a whole life happens, right? Life happens. So those of you who've been around a while, you know the story of how I tried to do market garden, and then I decided to focus on family first, that it was too much for me to have a job and do YouTube and try to have a market garden all at once. It just wasn't, it was not enjoyable, and it was really more than I could handle at one time. So we may eventually have that, but we don't right now. So then our Plan B page on Facebook, and I had a Not a Farm Girl Facebook page too. And so we had kind of transferred everything over to Plan B, because that's who people buy from. But then nobody knows Plan B Orchard and Farm. Everybody knows me as Not a Farm Girl. For a long time, Lorella wasn't even part of my channel name. It was just Not a Farm Girl. And I added Lorella because I wanted everybody to get to know my name, because it's kind of hard. So then I went back later when I realized, okay, this Plan B thing, that is still our farm name. We still sell under that. That's our business name that's set up with the state, with our LLC and stuff. But everybody knows Not a Farm Girl. So I went back on Instagram, and now somebody else has Not a Farm Girl as Instagram. And so I lost it. So that's why I'm on there as my personal self. But you can follow me on Instagram, and then I'll get to see you if I follow you back in. You post stuff and it comes up in my feed. That was a really long story to tell to tell you that, why it's my personal name instead of my channel name. We are coming up on 45 minutes. This has been really fun tonight. Did anybody else ask any questions while I was talking? Thank you, Ida, for the follow. Yeah, so Kate says that's a neat idea to remember people and their faces. I also do something. So I decided, oh, it's probably been more than 10 years now, that names were important. So this is how this happened. My friend Trisha was getting married, and she was marrying late, like in her 30s. And she had her bridal shower, and she had friends from several different parts of her life were there. So I knew her from a Bible study, but we didn't go to church or anything together. And she had work friends there and church friends there and friends from school there and everything. So then when I was at her bridal shower with about 15 other women, we had just introduced ourselves like once, but there was this one other woman there who she called everybody by their name. Like, she would say to me, like, so Lorella, how do you know Trish, or anything like that. So I saw her do this with several women and just casually say their name to them as if she had known them for forever, but she didn't. She was just meeting everyone like I was just meeting everyone. And I asked her about it. I'm like, how in the world do you do that? I can't remember names. And she said, I decided that names are important, and so I decided to remember them. And that day, like, that really struck me, and I was like, can you just do that? Can you just decide that something is important enough to remember? And I have a hard time with names, but I was like, I'm gonna work on this, because it really is impactful when you know someone's name, you know. And so I do several things because I really want to learn people's names. Like you guys, I ask you over and over to tell me, and I practice them, and I try to remember what name goes with what channel, because that also helps me to relate with you as a person and not as a channel. because I'm a person and you're a person behind the camera, unless it's just a butt, right? So I really want us to relate, and I have a harder time relating with a farm than I do with a farmer, if that makes sense. But at church, I want to remember people's names. When I go into business situations, I want to remember people's names. So I will often, after I meet somebody and walk away, I have a note in my phone, and like I have a list of like business people. I have another one that's church people, and I'll say, you know, like Karen and Jim, she's tall, he has freckles, and they moved here from something, and she, you know, likes to whatever. And that way, like, the next time I see them, I can like look in my thing and have a reminder of who they are and how I know them, and it really helps me. And it also makes it easier because I have a hard time meeting people. I know it doesn't seem like it would, right? It seems like I'm very outgoing and talkative and all this, which I can do, but it's hard for me to meet new people. Like, I'm like, hi, I'm Lorella. I don't know what to say to people. I like conversation, it just dies, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go find my husband. Like, I feel very awkward and weird and stuff. And so if I have that, then I have a way of helping me remember who they are and having something to talk to them about. Like, you know, if I put a note in there that, you know, their kid just started college this year, then that gives us a common something to talk about. So I do that a lot because I really want to know people. And Rebecca says, am I an introvert? I consider myself an outgoing introvert. So it's, I have a sister-in-law who's very much an introvert. She only has about 4 or 5 friends, really would rather be alone than anywhere else, is very intense and serious, and she's also very funny and witty, but she just is a true introvert. I'm not that far on the introvert side. I like people, but I like people in small groups. So I would love to sit down with you, which is why I say I want to pretend like we're sitting down having a cup of coffee, because that is like my favorite way to get to know people. I am not really fond of parties and big groups and, you know, noise and mixers and small talk. Like, that is really hard for me. And the thing that makes me an introvert more than an extrovert is that after I'm around a group of people, I need to be alone and like have to recharge. I have to recharge. Yeah. So I can people, and I can do public speaking, okay, and I can do this, okay. I can do teaching, okay. If I'm in a comfortable sitting, I'm pretty good, but I'm like a little bit, if I'm at all out of my element, it's very difficult for me. So yes, so I saw someone's going to HOA, not gonna be there, wish I could. Kate is going. Yeah, and you know, I mean, it's easy for me to say don't be nervous, they're just people, but I'm nervous when I meet them too. I'm nervous when I meet other YouTubers. So does anybody have any advice? Have any of you gone to meet other YouTubers, and what did you find successful? I think for me, if somebody recognizes me, if they can say, I watched your video on building the rabbit tractor. Where did you get that idea? Like, ask a question or say, you know, it's been really meaningful to me when you ... I watch, because it's hard for us as YouTubers, many of us, to feel slightly famous, because we're not celebrity like celebrities are. Even though we're well known, like in the homesteaders world, we're not used to that. So and I'm speaking for us in general. There probably are people, and I'm not, I mean, my channel's like fairly small compared to some of the bigger name ones like Justin Rhodes and White House on the Hill and even the Meat Traditions, who's right here in town. But I think if you just go to be somebody like, oh, it's so great to meet you, I'm so glad, blah blah blah, and you're like, you kind of fawn, that it's harder to connect that way, but that if you come up with like a genuine thing that you like about them or their channel, like with Kevin and Sarah, you know, I mean, he's just hilarious. Thank you so much, you guys, for all your videos on gardening. It's helped me, and I love how funny you are. You know, something genuine like that, I think that will be an easier way to connect, if that makes sense. So kind of like have a little plan of how, once the conversations get started, it's really easy to talk to us. I mean, we're in this because we love gardening and homesteading and raising animals and whatever each channel's area of expertise is. My area of expertise is not knowing how to do anything and learning. I'm an expert at learning and making mistakes. But yeah, if you can start the conversation off with something like that, that'll probably be easier. And Laura says you live near Kevin and Sarah. I do. I live very close. I live probably from house to house about 30 minutes away. We live on opposite sides of the same small town. And so like Dan is saying, I got up the nerve. So she said she saw Kevin and Sarah, but she was really nervous to talk to them at the farmer's market. So she went and asked them about the bucket under the Japanese beetle traps and whether it worked. Great, good talking point. And you know what? Just for anyone who's wondering, it does work because I did that. As well. So remind me, Diana, where are you? I forget. I know you said, but I forget where you are. You told me last week. I know you're here in Missouri though, and you're in a bunch of trees where you have Japanese beetles that can't get rid of them. So yeah, so that would be my one tip. Oh, do you guys want to hear a real celebrity sighting story? Oh, you're 14 East. Okay, I'm 76 West, so I'm the opposite way. Opposite. So, okay, I guess I should wait and see whether you guys want to hear it before I go. Before I tell you. I'm just kidding. I'm going to tell you anyway because it's my show, and I can. When my cousin got married in California, in Southern California, I went to the wedding, and after the wedding, at the reception, it was like a long hall, and there were tables down two sides of the dance floor, and then the bride and groom's table was at the end. So family was here and over here, like these tables right across near the front. And so I was seated on the bride's side, and then there was this woman sitting on the groom's side. She looked so familiar, so I kept looking at her, and I'm like, she looks so familiar, do I know her? And she turned around, she caught me looking, and she was like, I thought, she knows me. She does know me. She looks so familiar. Where do I know her from? And I was racking my brain. And so then my other cousin, like the sister of the cousin that got married, came and sat down with me, and I was like, hey, I just figured it out. See that lady over there? I kept wondering where I know her from. I think she looks just like the mom from Seventh Heaven. And this is like right when it was still on the air, or had just gone off the air. Like it was still right around that time. And she goes, that is the mom from Seventh Heaven. And I was like, what? And she said, so my cousin's husband was brothers with her husband. So here I was like staring at her, like, how do I know you? Do I know you? And she was like, yeah, you know me from TV, like from across the room. And I was like, oh my goodness. I felt like such a clown, right? So then evening goes on. I mean, we're across a dance floor from each other and never had reason to speak to her or anything. I'm getting ready to leave. My baby's, man, this has been 20 years ago. Maybe less than that, maybe like 18 years ago, because Carter was still in a stroller and then Leslie was like two. So it's been a long time ago. I was getting ready to leave, kids were tired and everything, and I wanted to say goodbye to my aunt, the mother of the bride, who was there from Arizona, because we don't see each other much. So I walk over to talk to her, and guess who is sitting down talking to her? That lady. I don't remember her name, whatever it was, that actress. And so I'm like, oh. So I just stand there and I just wait until they're done. And then the actress, looks up at me thinking that I'm waiting to speak to her because she's an actress. And she said, thank you for waiting. And I was like, no problem. Goodbye. What is my aunt's name? Angela. Goodbye, Aunt Angela. It was really great to see you. And I never even said one word to that woman. And I felt like such a dork for weeks afterwards because I should have just looked at her and said, I'm sorry I was staring at you. You looked so familiar. I was trying to figure out where I knew you from. I didn't realize who you were until I talked to my cousin and shared the story with her. I mean, that would have made a lot more sense than me just being like, and it went exactly like this. She goes, thank you for waiting. You're welcome. Aunt Angela, it was like I totally ignored her and brushed her off, like such a dorky move. It was totally hilarious. And later I'm just like, oh, that's like a typical Lorella. Typical awkward Lorella. Well, Laura, on my screen, you still came up an orange circle, so it might take a while. But I'll go look at I will later go click on your channel and go look at your profile picture. I was young a while ago. I was 30 years old by then. I had my kids late in life. Diana, you're over near West Plains. Do you know who else is near you? Little Creek Homestead. Do you watch them? And the Awesome Homestead are also out in that area. I'm trying to think who else is out in that area. It seems like there's somebody else out there. That's all I can think of right now. But if you don't watch Little Creek Homestead, you should. Sammy and her grandma have a little tiny homestead. And they are just really precious people. And then the Awesome Homestead is the Viking. Somebody help me out with his name. Richard and Cheyenne, and they have an off-grid homestead, and it's also pretty small, and he knows lots and lots and lots about like plants. He's amazing. Like I go over there to visit and he'll be like, this is this plant and needs this and this and this to grow, and this is doing really well right here because of this and that. And I'm just like, I need to write it down. Let me record you. I'm not gonna remember this later. He's just got all this knowledge like in his head. He's pretty amazing. They're kind of unique characters. They're fun to watch. And Little Creek Homestead. And I saw a question about had I ever lived in the UK. I have not. I have visited the UK once. I was there for 5 days. Let's see. And I think we're all expert mistake makers. I don't know I'm not sure what Diana's question was. Okay. So that's about it. We're coming up on the hour mark and I have to go teach some girls tonight downstairs here at church. So are there any other questions or anything you guys want to talk about before we start saying our goodbyes? You guys go ahead and start saying goodbye to each other because when it ends, we will be clicking off. I am in, oh, I'm sorry. Ida's asking, where do I live? Which country? I'm in the United States. I'm in the United States, currently in the state of Missouri. I'm in southern Missouri. So I don't know how much you know about U.S. geography. So U.S. geography is here. We have East Coast has like New York and Florida, right? And we've got West Coast with California. And then Texas is the big one down at the bottom by the Gulf of Mexico. I'm just a little bit up and eastward of Texas. So pretty much right in the center of the country. Midwest, definitely also known as the Ozarks. So my growing zone is a 6B and it's hilly and humid and hot. Summers, we get a little bit of snow in winter. And for those of you who don't know why I'm talking to Ida like she has no clue about American geography, it's because she lives in Sweden. So I would not just assume that nobody knows that, but that's why I'm explaining to her where I'm located because she's from another country. So I don't want to make an assumption because I could not tell you where anything in Sweden is. I couldn't even find Stockholm on a map unless it had a big star by it. And isn't Stockholm, is that Germany? Is that Sweden? See, that's how bad I am with geography. I know like it's in the UK. Oh, Luke, sorry, I saw your question fly by earlier, but I was in the middle of talking about something else. I don't sell honey yet. So last year we harvested honey, but we had been given hives because the woman who was beekeeping them, she turned out to be very, very allergic. And so she gave us 2 complete hives with all of her equipment and her honey extractor and everything for free just because she's our friend. And so when we harvested the honey, we gave half back to her. That's all she asked for when she gave us all of her equipment and hives and everything, with the bees already in them. I mean, 2 complete full hives. This year I am going to be able to harvest honey, and I will likely sell honey depending on how much I get. But it seems like it's been a good year. I've got 3 honey supers on there right now. So hopeful that we will have some to sell. And good night, Ida. And good night, everybody else. And did I miss anybody else's question before I end the live chat? I want to make sure. So if you ask me something I didn't answer, now's your chance to ask it again real quick. And I'm just going to give you guys a second, and then I'm going to say goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. It was really fun hanging out and talking to you. And keep watching the Vlogust videos, and I'll see you live again next Wednesday.